Andre the Giant. You guys remember him? Andre was a sports figure. He came to the world of professional wrestling, and you can talk about the silliness if you want, but he was back in the time, started in the 70s. And this is when there was still a debate, was this real? Were we seeing a real sporting event? Like, how would a wrestler do against Muhammad Ali? That was a real question that the world bounced back and forth. Hard for you guys to imagine if you don't know this. I maintain you can learn everything you need to know about U.S. government through the history of professional wrestling. And I love to give this example in 1989. Just so you understand, in 1989, Vince McMahon had to take the stand in a trial. And the other sides, the prosecution, asked Vince when he was sworn under oath if wrestling was real, meaning is it a competition? Is it an actual competition, or do they already know the outcome before they go out there? Now, scumbag move that the prosecutor asked him that. Terrible move that the judge forced Vince to answer, but that's a whole different question. Vince did answer, and he also understood in his heart and mind that it's over. Because he answered the question truthfully as he had to do, and he said, it is predetermined, it is not a competition. Vince believed that they could put the cameras away and cancel the venues and let everybody know it's been real. He believed it was going to be over. 36 states on that very day, 36 states in America had boxing and wrestling commissions. So they had taxpayer-funded offices that were passed by the legislature, passed by the Senate, sent to 36 different governors' desks who signed this into law to regulate it the same as we do with boxing because they thought it was real. Now, every single one of them quickly and quietly went away. 8 still remain to this day. Can you believe that? Does that surprise you? There are 8 states in America right now where taxpayers fund an office to oversee professional wrestling. Okay. I bring this Andre the Giant, really transcendent sport, because he was along before the story I just told when they thought it was real, and he was looked as the most feared man in the world by many. And he made it for a period of time after this when it became entertainment and he was just a bigger life character. HBO did a very good piece on him. They talked about where he was born in France, and they reveal his real name, and they speak with his daughter. And I mean, Andre could put the beer down, and he lifted up a car one time when he was in traffic. I mean, there was just all sorts of stuff that was really compelling. Andre's, whose life was made, who we only know of because, who every opportunity given to him was by, whose pockets were lined due to Vince McMahon. Andre did not like Vince McMahon. He left this world, sadly, but when he left, he was not a fan of, he was against Vince McMahon. Now, Vince hadn't done anything to Andre other than what I just said. Vince didn't screw Andre. He didn't cheat Andre. He didn't take an opportunity from him. He didn't promise a fee that he didn't pay. He did none of those things. Never lied to him, never hurt him. Vince spoke on this piece on HBO, and Vince said, respect Andre. I love him. I owe a lot to him. I understand that he doesn't have a good word to say about me, but neither does anybody else that retires. Thought that was interesting. Vince then said, why? He said, Andre and I did this together. Andre's career has come to an end. It stops. But my career continues. And he said that that was the problem that all wrestlers had with Vince on a personal level and the organization of WWF, now known as WWE. Real simple, real matter of fact. Their career has ended. We were doing this together. We had trials and tribulations. We had successes and we had faults. We had airlines and we had hotel rooms. We had arenas. We had booze. We had cheers. We did it together. You're now not doing it, but I still am. And it created a level of resentment. And I bring that to you because I am seeing that right now play out. Luke Rockhold, Dana White. I cannot get enough Luke Rockhold. I can't. Luke hasn't opened his mouth. Luke has not done an appearance. Luke has not sneezed. Luke has not got anything to slip into the world of the internet that I haven't absorbed. I have never wanted to see him fight more than I do right now. I want him to rescind his retirement. I have personally reached out to him, hoping that he was going to give that back to me. Hey, I'll think it over. Crazy about Luke right now. I think that you guys are too. But Luke is now in a position where he's unhappy with Dana White. He was doing an interview. I caught it this morning. I believe he did it yesterday. I think he was on with Ariel Helwani, as a matter of fact. And he said they never gave me a fair shot. I never got my shake over here. Now, I don't know what that means. I just didn't know what that meant. If the Luke Rockhold story was done, he's too old. He's injured, whatever it might be, that stops him from continuing, right? That's a very beautiful thing, truly. The way that Luke went out, if this is in fact the end, it's a dream. Not just in that it was an amazing fight, not just that it was recognized, not that it's got a bonus, everybody's remembering it. No, it was Luke's choice. If Luke called the UFC today, they'll put him back in the USADA pool. They'll book him a match. Luke called Dana and said, hey, listen, could you give me a release? I started with Scott Coker, and I'd like to go back over there. Dana would do it. Truly. Out of respect to Luke. Luke is in a very coveted position. Most people's career does not end on their own terms. You stop fighting when people stop paying you to fight. When you cannot find a promoter to tell you yes and to put you on a card, that is when most people stop fighting. And they usually find out in a telephone call. Someone calls them. It's over. It's very real. And that's not devastating. That shouldn't lead a guy to alcoholism and drug abuse. But boy, are you in the dumps. I mean, boy, is that a down moment. My career and my dream and all this effort, and it's over. I'm planning to go to the gym today at 3 o'clock. Planning to see the boys. That's my social club. That's my life. That's what I do. What's the point? What would the point of going in and pushing and getting this great workout be? I don't get to compete again. That's the reality for most people. And most people do a very good job with it. It's a very hard time, and these are big boys. And they move on. I'm just sharing for you. That's not Luke's spot. Luke chose. That's a dream. And when Luke says he wasn't given an opportunity, when I tell you I don't know what that means. Had Luke been pushed out the door, had Luke been an undercard, had Luke been never given world championship opportunities, not invited to press conferences, not put on poster, not put on billboards, we're having a very different conversation because Luke clearly, for a period of time, was the best fighter in the world. So if he was not recognized, he wasn't given that number one contenders match, he wasn't given that world title match. That would be wrong. We as an industry would have to look back and say, Luke, I'm sorry. We were wrong here. We got this one wrong, but that's not what happened. It's not what happened. His whole career was just this beautiful. I mean, he was getting incredible matches and more, ones that you guys haven't even seen. Luke wanted to change weight classes at one point. Dana has a problem with that. Dana really believes in division, and you build that division. That way you can have rankings, you can have a system, you can elevate. You got to keep them in the division to do that, though. Luke calls up one day, I want to go 205. They said, going 205. Luke called back another day, said, hey, I want to go back to 185. You're going 185. All feature matches. All main card. All focused on matches. I don't get to tell Luke that he was treated well. If Luke thinks that he wasn't treated well, I don't get to tell him that. But as I do look at it, it seemed like a pretty good deal. Seemed like a pretty good position. Seemed like a guy that really got highlighted. Seemed like a guy that was able to stay in there for a meaningful period of time. I mean, how old is Luke? He can't be that far behind me. Luke's got to be 39, 40. I mean, he just has to be. Given an opportunity to put in a co-main event, how many other guys can you say that were 39 that were put in co-main events? How about a guy coming off of a loss? Go ahead, throw me a guy that was coming off of a loss that got put on a co-main event of a pay-per-view. And when I talk about even more opportunities, ones that you guys haven't seen, Luke was asked, included, and booked fight at Madison Square Garden. I mean, all you have when you're done with anything, guys, just like school or anything else all you have is your memories. That's all you got. Try to go out there, you try to get these great experiences, no matter the risk, no matter the stress or what you have to overcome so that you can have these memories. You can come and share it. Luke was booked to fight at Madison Square Garden against Sean Strickland, which I personally believe, had that gone down, it would have been a #1 contenders match. We'll never know. We'll never know, but Luke versus Strickland, that was going to be huge. That they hadn't gotten started. I think one reason they hadn't got started, I can't remember who pulled out of that fight, but I believe whoever pulled out knew the whole time, I'm not likely to make it. I'm going to try. I'm getting in the gym, and then finally just realized I couldn't go. But I'm only sharing for you. When you talk about opportunity, we have to talk about somebody believing in you and getting behind you. I'm there. And would Luke say that about me? Chael never gave me a fair shake? Whoa. Hold on. You got that wrong. Did give you a fair shake. Enjoyed your career. Celebrated your career. Hope that it's not over. And when I see the Luke and Dana, just by example, which is one way, Dana is not coming back. Luke is just sharing his piece. When I bring that to you, it does remind me of the HBO special. It does remind me that Andre the Giant, who was recognized and loved and was able to spin that, he did some books, he got some pieces in movies, got recognized. Everything and every opportunity that he had ties back to one person. Luke's a grown man. I'm not in a spot to tell him you're wrong, you got this one wrong. But I do think if he looked at his career and he looked at the opportunities, not only the ones that he had. I mean, don't forget, Luke, when he went up to 205 pounds, he fought the Polish Hammer. If Luke would have won that fight, Luke would have fought for a world championship at 205 pounds. But when you want to talk about somebody, and he earned it all. Luke was damn good, damn tough, and took some huge risks. There's always a tough spot when you go through a journey with somebody and your time comes to an end and theirs continues. Now, you do with that what you want. But it was a powerful statement for me. This was about 7 years ago that I watched that piece. And for 7 years, I took that with me. I remembered that. And when we end up in situations like this, I do defer back to what Vince said. Human nature, it's just psychology. Not unexpected. But I think if you look at it through the lens, as Vince was forced to with Andre, hurt Vince's feelings. Hurt it a lot. That was somebody he cared about, somebody he loved, somebody he gave opportunities, whose career came to an end. I think in that perspective, you guys might view this a little differently.